Hello there, my name is Wayne Gallear and I'm just going to do an introduction to the HND in computing and also the BSc Creative Computing. So let's just talk about the course. Well, if you went to university, you'd be doing a 3-year course. What we are offered at NWSLC is the same sort of process. You have a 3-year course. The first 2 years are doing the HND, which is equivalent to the first and second year of university, and the third year, which is a top-up degree, is a Coventry University validated degree. It's a full-time course. I've put 9 hours contact time on this slide here, but that's the final year. The HND and the HND year 1 and year 2 was more like 12 hours a week, so you have a lot more contact time. So in this day and age, it's important for a student to sort of get some industry relative skills, especially in this day and age of coronavirus and the unsureties that it makes you feel. So our focus is to try to give you that skill set, to try to give you that sort of confidence that you can walk into a marketplace with some valuable skills that will be useful for an employer to use and look at. So although we do a creative computing pathway, there's a lot of skills that are quite transferable to different sort of industries and to business, which I'll talk more about as I go through this presentation. So let's talk about the years. The first year, the H&D is like an introduction, a foundation as you would to computing. So those who are not really particular computing savvy can walk into this and get a good grounding, and those who've already done it can hopefully get a skill set that will help them develop it. So let's talk about the units that's going to be included. These are not a full list of units, these are just sort of a summary. So you're going to be doing programming, you're going to be doing an introduction to object-oriented design, which you'll be sort of learning, I think at this stage, Java, which is one of the top programming languages out there. Responsive web design, that's one of the units I teach. It's what I mean by responsive is it's first of all dynamic web design. So it changes, the content is changing, also works on multiple different platforms. Gone are the days where you just browse the web on a PC or a Macintosh or something like that. People use tablets, people use phones, different screen sizes. I'll show you how to adapt and change with that. You're going to be learning different coding techniques. You're going to be learning HTML and CSS, which technically speaking is not coding, but it's still important to use. And you'll be also learning JavaScript as well. Also, you're going to be looking at IT security as well. So it's how to get how we can make these websites secure, and also what IT security is in general principle as well across the board. You're also going to be doing something called computer systems architecture. You'll be learning all about the bits and bobs that make a computer, processor, motherboard, RAM, all the essential elements and how they all work together to create this computer system. No matter what you're using, whether it's a phone, a PC or whatever, they all have these similar sort of principles involved. Then also one of the threads through the HND and the BSc is this project. This project helps the student, give them that independent skills that helps them think for themselves. We sort of help them develop these sort of interpersonal skills that can work sometimes in a small group to do a project, but usually the sort of individual projects where they're actually working through something. The first year, the H&D is much more about research, much more about researching different concepts. So it's quite a very simple little project for the first year. The second year, we're getting into more specialisms. We're getting into more sort of like a games design, but don't be put off with the word games design, because you're also going to be learning quite a lot about programming. Also about different coding aspects. You're going to be learning about design attributes, a lot of skills that you're going to find useful outside games design completely. So you're going to be doing games development. Now that's going to be using the Unity game engine. So you're also going to be learning coding. You're going to be learning C#. You're also beginning an Internet of Things. So we're looking at how devices are all interconnected. This is a theory unit, but also there's some practical bits where you'll be looking at how different devices connect. You'll be looking at the Android phones, and we'll be looking at Arduino and connecting with that as well. UX and UI is about user experience and user interface. That's what that means. It's about how we can create the look and feel and get the look and feel right. Companies and businesses spend a lot of money on the UX and UI design. Even the way I designed this slideshow, I've thought about the UX and UI design of this to take in sort of some of the principles from that. Also, now you're doing a project. Now this is a bit more of a substantial project at this stage. You're actually going to a deeper than what you did for the first year, going to a lot more deeper sort of subject, a lot more research, a lot deeper. There's also the concept of a dissertation for this project as well. We also do things like emerging technologies. We look at the new and up and coming emerging techs. In the past we've looked at sort of like self-driving cars and that sort of concept, and that links quite neatly with artificial intelligence, how artificial intelligence is developing these days. It's not just about how artificial intelligence is used, it's also about the ethics, about the implications. You know, are artificial intelligence a really good thing? Are they always bringing value? And are they always working? And how they're used? I mean, the biggest use of artificial intelligence in our common daily use is within our mobile phones, and how the impact on our daily life, like Siri and stuff like that. Then I just want to briefly talk about the BSc. Now this is a Coventry University validated degree that is a BSc Hons level, so you can get a first class honours degree if you came this path, for example. So there's 5 units on this. 3D modelling and animation, you're going to be creating, James Tedder teaches this unit, you're going to be creating these 3D artifacts, starting from environmentals, different environments, sort of like hills and mountains, right through to looking at faces and animating them and modelling. We're going to be looking at some of the advanced techniques of that. And then in a completely different pathway, we've got web-based gaming. Now, one of the threads of this entire pathway is coding. In web-based gaming, there's a lot of JavaScript. You're going to be using JavaScript and a JavaScript engine to create these actual web-based sort of things. So one of the things that some students have done in the past is create little platform games and little shoot-em-ups that's on a website. But don't get trapped with the word web-based gaming, because also one of the things that students can do and have done is interactive websites. So in other words, questionnaires, like ask a load of questions, people answer it, and it changes and it adapts depending on what you're doing. One of the things that students have looked at doing is like an IQ tester. So there's quite a lot of scope for this, and it adds to the web theme of this entire course as well. Using AI in computer games, this follows on beautifully from the HND, where you'll be creating these games and adding AI elements, getting these sort of intelligent elements within the games that you see this day and age. Another unit is ubiquitous computing. That is Internet of Things that you did in the HND, but taking it to a higher level. It's taking it there and getting it there. We're using Raspberry Pis now as well, and we're starting to look at how they're all interconnected, how they all work on the web, and how they all seamlessly integrate with each other on the fly. And this is also, the final thing is a project, and it's a double unit, as I've said here. This is a major project, so you're actually creating usually a product and you're writing a dissertation. So you can see how it follows on, the project follows on from each one to each one. Right, so entry requirements, usually one of the things we look at is a good student report. So for example, at the college that we're looking at a good reference from tutors, but also we consider on a one-to-one basis through an interview. How do we apply? Well, I've put get your application from reception. That's not exactly true. They're now through UCAS. It used to be that you have to do a UCAS application and you have to apply through the UCAS. So click on the college website and it'll tell you how to do that, or you can even phone up the college and they will go through that process with you. What's the benefits? Well, I think obviously it's cheaper. Now I want to say this, with coronavirus and that, we may be doing some of this distance learning. We don't know what the future holds, and this is the same for all colleges and all universities, but you will be working with staff that if you're working at the college before, you've been at the college before, you're used to. If you come in, you've been similar surroundings, and it's cheaper. But the major thing that we want to choose NWSLC over any university is support. We're talking much smaller class sizes. We're talking about much more one-to-one support, and also they've progressed in the industry. We've got people that have gone on to doing programming. Some people have actually got jobs as junior coders. They're also going and looking at indie games design as well. But there are lots of other support ways you can go as well. So I hope that's helped you, and thank you for your time. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask at college reception. My name's Wayne Gallear. My email address is wayne.gallear, Gallear, at NWSLC.ac.uk. And thank you for listening, and goodbye. Thank you.